and welcome back to another Division 2 video. Now if I asked you a question, what is more important than knowing exactly where your enemies are at all times? What would you respond? Not much, right? Except of course having a 9.8 second cooldown pulse, which is exactly the video that I'm going to showcase for you today. This is a pulse build, and it is a hard-hitting build as well, and being able to constantly know exactly where your enemy is at all times, whether you're the hunter or the hunted, is half the battle, guys. Now I know you're dying to see the build, but before I show you guys, I just want to take a quick second to say thank you to everyone that's supporting the channel. We are growing. We are on the road to 1,000 subs, and it's just overwhelming, and I just want to say thank you again, guys, for all the support. And you know, like always, make sure you hit that like button to show your appreciation for the video. If you're new, welcome. Pull up a chair, stay for a while, check out the channel, guys. There's lots of good content there, lots of different build ideas, templates for you guys to try out and make them unique to your playstyle as well. And also, if you're on the hunt and the search for exotics like the Lady Death or the tardigrade exotic chest or the holster, I have great how-to videos in there as well, so check it out when you get a chance. And of course, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell to be up to date with all the content whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's get into the build. Alright guys, there are two main criteria for this build. Number one, you're gonna want the Night Watcher Hillagard mask, and you're gonna want to run the talent Efficient on your chest. And I'm gonna go into a little bit more detail on these two items and why in just a bit. And of course, remember to stay till the end of the video for more fun gameplay for you guys to enjoy. Okay, so let's start from the top. We are running the Firewall Specialization, and I will actually show you guys exactly why. This is actually one of the better specializations at the moment. So here we have the med kit. Your armor kit recovers 200% armor and 200% health over 10 seconds. And I'm actually going to show you, or you're actually going to see that in combination with the talent Efficient, you're actually going to become immortal for a few seconds. But let's see what else is good about this specialization. You got the 30% health on kill, not too bad. You got the cluster grenade, which is actually pretty decent. If you're a shield player, we've got the striker shield here, where whether you're the one using it or your buddy in the group, if you stay behind them, it gives you a damage buff. But of course, you also have the Firewall Tactical Link, which allies deal plus 10% damage to enemies that are within 10 meters. So basically, you're giving your buddies 10% weapon damage for free just for being within 10 meters of you. Plus 30% bonus armor during cover-to-cover moves. I see this more in PvE. Pulse resistance. And of course, you got the Fire Response talent, which on armor break apply burn to enemies within 5 meters, which seems a little more reasonable than being able to be burnt from 20 meters away by those using the exotic holster, in my opinion. Okay, so let's get back to the build. Now, primary weapon of choice, I am running the FAMAS. If you're a fan of the Eagle Bearer or the Sitar or the M4, those are all great choices. This is just personal preference. I've been a fan of the FAMAS all the way back to my Berserk clutch days. I love how it handles. I love the high RPM. And I like to be able to roll a talent on it, which in this case it has strained on it, because we gain plus 10% critical hit damage for every 0.5 seconds you are firing, and it stacks up to 5 times. Super, super strong. And then we have this beauty, and in my opinion, a very underused weapon. This is the named Vector, guys, the Dark Winter. Okay, it has 73,000 total weapon damage in this build, 1200 RPM with a 45 round mag, 46 if you have one in the chamber. I was very, very lucky with this one. It came almost god rolled, and I believe I rolled a plus 10% damage to targets out of cover. Now this attribute, guys, if you don't know, is super strong. It allows you to shred through people's armor a lot quicker, especially those tanky True Patriot builds. So keep that in mind. And it comes with the perfect talent Killer. Killing an enemy with a critical hit grants plus 50% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. I'll repeat that again, guys. Plus 50% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. So right away, knowing that this is a Vector, high RPM, you know in your mind that you're going to be building around crit chance, crit damage. You want to reach that 60% cap or as close to it as quickly as possible. Like I've said in my previous videos, once you get to 55%, you can pretty much stop there and start building around crit damage after that. Believe me, guys, with 1200 RPM, you won't notice a difference between 55 and 60, which is exactly the case here. I was able to reach 55 without utilizing any crit chance mods on the Dark Winter. So I made use of the Russian red dot sight for 5% critical hit damage. Then I made use of the special short grip that only the firewall provides, which gives you an additional plus 10% critical hit damage. Remember, the original one only gives you 5%. The firewall gives you 10%. And then I went with the flash hider, which gives you another 5% critical hit damage. Now for our sidearm, I chose the fire starter, but it's really not important in this build. So we have the Night Watcher. Why do we want the Night Watcher? Well, very simple. Comes with plus 100% scanner pulse haste. This is what allows you to have a 9.8 second cooldown pulse. Whether you're a solo player or you play in a group, there's nothing more crucial than being able to know exactly where your enemy is at all times. If you're the hunter, being able to pulse that agent that maybe has strayed away from his pack just a little bit gives you the upper hand to be able to pounce on him like a lion, and he won't even know what hit him. And now if you're being hunted, then being able to pulse every 9 seconds and thus allowing you to be able to know exactly where your enemies are, it gives you the advantage because now you're able to avoid them, set out on a clear path, and not be seen or not be caught by them. Moving on to the chest, I mentioned earlier you're going to want to run efficient because in combination with the medkit from the firewall, you get a 50% chance not to consume a medkit, which in itself is great. But look at the added bonus, guys. Specialization armor kit bonuses are increased by 100%. So you're increasing the 200% armor increase and the 200% health increase that you get by 100%, which it pretty much translates to, guys, you're immortal for 10 seconds, allowing you the freedom to face tank your enemy, to get out of a very sticky situation if you're being ambushed by 2-3 agents, or if you're in the middle of a heroic mission or legendary mission. It gives you crucial seconds to get out of harm's way, get into cover, regroup, etc., etc. So I highly recommend you make use of this talent, guys. Moving on to the holster, now we are running 2 pieces of Providence. Not so much for the headshot damage, yes, for the crit chance, but more because of the talent. You are going to want to run the named Providence backpack, the gift, which comes with perfect vigilance. Increases total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables this buff for 3 seconds. Basically what it means is you gain 25% weapon damage and it's got a cooldown of 3 seconds. Because if the enemy is actually able to get the upper hand on you and land that first hit on you, this buff won't proc till 3 seconds afterwards. Now if you are the one to land the first, then you are able to unleash that 25% weapon damage right off the bat. Which in most cases, guys, a lot of builds out there aren't prepared for taking that amount of damage that quick. So a very, very good talent. Now the only other talent that I would recommend for this build, which I'm actually going to try when I get the right backpack, is Versatile. And I recommend Versatile because we are running 2 different types of weapons, and Versatile basically amplifies weapon damage when you are swapping between your primary and your secondary when they are of different classifications, like in this case. As soon as I find the right backpack, I will experiment with it, and if I feel that it makes a more significant impact on this build, I will upload a video. If not, stick with perfect vigilance. And of course, for the gloves, in my opinion, nothing's better right now than the Contractor's gloves for, again, that 8% damage to armor. And for the knees, the Fox's Prayer for that 8% damage to targets out of cover. Now, moving on to the skills, of course, we are running the pulse scanner, pretty obvious. You're going to want to use cone size mods on it and effect duration. Now, you can use skill haste, but at 9.8 seconds, guys, this pulse is already quick enough. So being able to add effect duration, I think, is more key. It allows the enemy to be pulsed longer, thus allowing you to be able to see them where they are for a longer amount of time. And then for our second skill, just to add a little bit more survivability, because we're not super tanky, I run the Defender drone, and you're going to want deflect duration mods, damage reduction mods, and health mods. Pretty straightforward. And that is the build, guys. Super fun. And like I said, being able to know where your enemy is at all times is such a fresh, you know, breath of fresh air is what I was trying to say. Let's get into the stats, because I know you want to see that. With the FAMAS, we have 47,000 PvP damage, 47 crit chance. We can get this higher just with better attributes. 84% critical hit damage, but of course remember we have strained, which we're gaining 10% weapon critical hit damage for every 0.5 seconds you are firing. We have 8% armor damage and 18% health damage. Now in my playstyle, I like to begin with the Dark Winter because of its RPM and burst damage, thus allowing me to pretty much rip through their armor in seconds, less than seconds. And then depending on the situation, I will switch to the FAMAS to make use of that 18% health damage, or I'll just finish them off with the Dark Winter. We have 79.1% all weapon damage bonus and 36% assault rifle damage bonus. Now let's check out the Dark Winter. Oh, sorry about that. On the Dark Winter, we have 56.2% critical hit chance and 104.2% critical hit damage. Remember, when you proc Perfect Killer, that amplifies by 50% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. 66.1% headshot damage. 79.1% on weapon damage bonus. And 28% submachine gun damage bonus. Alright guys, try out this build. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think, how you would run it if you could, make it unique to yourself. And have fun, guys. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, having fun. And like I mentioned earlier, stick around for some more fun gameplay. And I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.